Hey, what's up guys? Welcome back to another video in the Kotlin series. In this video, I'll be teaching about Boolean logical operators. So now since we're getting into control flow and if statements and different ways to control the flow of your program depending on the conditions, we need to know actually how to create different conditions. And one of the ways that you can do that is with something called a logical operator. And there's 4 basic logical operators that you can do on Booleans, okay? So you may have heard of these before in your math class, or maybe you haven't heard of them before, but they're pretty simple, and so I just want to break down how to use them in computer programs. Now we're going to jump into the code in just a minute here, don't worry, but I just want to give you guys a high level overview of the different Boolean logical operators that we're going to be working with. So the first one is the most simple, it's the not logical operator. So it's just a way of taking a Boolean and flipping the bit. Okay, so behind the scenes, you can think of a Boolean as just 2 values, true or false, right? We already know that. But you can also represent it as 0 and 1. 0 means false usually, and 1 means true usually, okay? So that's how you can think of it behind the scenes, all right? So if we just look at this table here, we have x on the left side, which is the current value of x, and then we have x with the not operation done upon it, okay? So if we just imagine that we have a Boolean with a value of 0 or false, and we do not on it, it's just going to flip it. So it's going to make it the opposite of what it currently is. So it's going to make it from 0 to 1. And then if we have a Boolean of true or just 1, that's going to be set to false or 0. So a not Boolean operator will just simply flip it to the opposite value of a Boolean, okay? So an AND will work upon 2 Booleans or 2 bits, and basically it only returns 1 or true if both of them are true, okay? So if we have 0, 0, those are both false, so the outcome is false. If we have 0 and 1, only one of them is true or 1, so the outcome is still false. If we have 1 and 0, there's still only one of them being true, so that's going to be false. But if we have 1 and 1, meaning they're both true, that's going to be true, all right? Now for OR, the result is going to be true if at least one of them is true. So it's saying this or this. Is this one true or is this one true? If one of them is true, then the whole thing is true. If both of them are true, the whole thing is true. If both of them are false, the whole thing is false, okay? So 0 and 0 or false and false, the outcome is false. Well, one of them is true, so the outcome is true. 1 and 0, that's going to be true, and then 1 and 1, that's going to be true. Now the last one's probably the trickiest one to understand. We're going to see examples for all of these in just a second. So XOR stands for exclusive OR. And this one's very similar to OR, except that only one of them can be true. So what this means is that before, with an OR, if both of them are true, then the entire thing is true. But for this one, if both of them are true, then the entire thing is false. So only one of them has to be true and can be true, okay? So if they're both false, the thing is false. If one of them is true, the entire thing is true. If one of them is true, like here, the entire thing is true. But if both of them are true, the entire thing is false, okay? So that's just a high-level overview and involving no code for the different Boolean operations you can do in math and also computer science. You're going to learn a lot about these in the future if you ever take any computer science classes. Now let's jump into the code so we can see actually how to use these in our programs, okay? And the way that you do a not operation within Kotlin is by doing exclamation point, okay? So if we just have a simple variable here like var is raining, this is going to store a Boolean value of false. And let's say that for some reason we want to make that the opposite. That's called negating it. So we can negate it by using not. So we could say something like print line exclamation point is raining. So normally this would print out false just because that's the value of is raining, but since we're using the not operator or doing negation, that should be true. It's going to be the opposite. There we go, we get true. And if we go ahead and change this to true, now the output should be false. And there we go. So that is the not operator. The next one I'm going to show you is the AND operator. And the way that you do the AND operator in Kotlin is by double ampersand. So the little AND symbol. So we'll just do a print line so we can print out the value of the operation that we're doing. So for AND, remember, both of them have to be true. So for example, if we do false and false, the result of this should actually still be false because both of these have to be true for an AND operation here. So it should print out false. So if we just go ahead and run this now, boom, we get false. Then if we do something like true and false, this is also going to be false. Then if we do something like false and true, this is going to be false. And then if we do print line true and true, the result of this will be true. So if we run this now, we should get false, 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 true, and there we go. That matches the table that we saw before. Both of them have to be true for AND, all right? The next one that I want to show you is the OR operation. So this is going to be a double pipe symbol or whatever you want to call that. So this should be above your enter key. So if you just hold shift and then press that, it should give you that. It may depend on the keyboard you're using, but that's how it is for me at least. Now for OR, you have to remember that at least one of them has to be true for the entire thing to be true, okay? So if we print this out, we can do false, false, that's going to be false. We can do true or false, that's going to be true. We can do false or true, that's going to be true. And then finally, we can do true or true, that's going to be true. All right, pretty self-explanatory. Let me run this now to show you that that is the case. So we should get false, true, true, true. Awesome. Now the last one I want to show you is the exclusive OR. And this is actually, less commonly used in computer programs from what I've seen, but I think it's still important to show you how you can do it within Kotlin. So for this one, you're simply going to use the actual type. You're actually going to type out XOR instead of having these symbols here. And remember, exclusive OR is only going to be true if exactly one of them is true. It can't be both of them. It can't be none of them. Only one of them can be true, exclusively one of them, all right? So if we want to try this out, we could do false XOR false, true XOR false, that's going to be true. First one's going to be false, of course. We can do false XOR true, this is going to be true, and then finally print line true XOR true, and that's going to be false. So let's go ahead and run this to verify that. And boom, there we go. False, true, true, false. Makes sense, right? So that matches the table that we saw before. All right, so that's how you can do the different Boolean logical operators within Kotlin directly. The reason I'm showing you this, guys, is because we're going to be using these to create conditions for our if statements and for other types of control flow statements that we're going to be learning about in the future, all right? So you're not ever going to be actually writing false and false or true and false, using these literals here. These are just examples. So what you're going to be doing instead is these things that we have here are going to be replaced with other conditions like is, x greater than 2 and is name equal to Bob. So these are things that evaluate to a Boolean value, true or false, on both sides, and then we can combine them together to create bigger expressions, okay? So in the next episode, I'm going to teach you guys about the different comparison operators that we can do within Kotlin, which is another way of producing Boolean values, the same way that we do here with these. And then once we're done learning the comparison operators, we're going to show you guys how to combine these Boolean logical operators that we learned about, not, and, or, and XOR, and combine it together with comparison operators to create complex Boolean expressions that we can then use within our if statements and stuff like that, okay? So that's why I'm showing you guys this stuff. So hopefully you found this interesting, and stay tuned for the next episode. So that's it for this video, everybody. I really hope you learned something new. If you liked the video, please hit the like button, and if you want to see more, hit that subscribe button. Make sure to also check the description below for important links to code and other resources, but also really important, join our Discord. We have a big community of over 5,000 programmers, and it's a place where you can find new friends or get help on any code that you're stuck on. If you want to support what I do on this channel, please consider hitting the join button below, and this will allow you to support my channel for as low as $1 a month, but there are different tiers to choose from if you want to. For anyone that becomes a member on my channel, you get a special rank on my Discord server, early access to new videos, and you can just see yourself on the screen right now. So if that sounds cool to you, feel free to join. If you don't want to, that's fine. If you can't, that's okay too. I really just appreciate you watching the video anyway. Thank you so much. And that's it. Peace.